Hey guys, how's it going? Justin here with Practically Squared. Welcome back to the channel. So the firearms industry can be stagnant from time to time. Sometimes there's a long stretch between really innovative, really cool products. This year we got a pretty good dose of a really cool, really interesting product, and that's the Garmin Xero C1 Pro chronograph. The Garmin Xero C1 Pro chronograph is Garmin's first introduction into the firearms industry for a radar-based chronograph, or just a chronograph in general. This thing packs a lot of features and is a pretty neat little unit. There's been a lot of good chronographs on the market for years. Lab Radar, Magnetospeed, the FX has come on in the last year. The Bullet Seeker has come on in the last year. But none of those chronographs have really kind of checked all the boxes, right? As a shooter, what do we want in a chronograph? We want something that, number one, is going to give us really good results. We want something that's going to be versatile. It'll work good with handguns, good with rifles, good with possibly archery, different stuff like that, right? So we want something that's going to be versatile in terms of being able to work for different platforms and easily configurable. Also, as a match shooter, as a competitive shooter, as a PRS shooter, I want something that I could go out to a match and I could set down beside me, I could shoot, and I could not have to worry about it picking up other people's shots or not have to worry about it interfering with other chronographs in the area. And that's something that the Garmin Xero C1 Pro kind of checks all the boxes on. This is going to work really good for your handguns. It's going to work really good for your rifles. It's going to give you data that you can trust, and it's made by a company that's been around for a while. Garmin dips their toes in a lot of different markets, whether it's aviation, marine, the golf industry, the bicycling industry, different stuff like that. Garmin's been around, and Garmin's like a US-based company that is known to have pretty good product support, right? So whenever I heard that they were coming out with this chronograph and I heard about the feature set and I saw how tiny it was, I was super pumped. So to help me kind of illustrate what makes the Garmin so special, I want to take a step backwards and I want to talk a little bit about what chronographs we've been using for years. The first chronograph I want to talk about is going to be our light-based screen style chronos. These are the chronographs that have the 4 posts sticking up. You're going to set them up downrange, shoot through them. Inevitably, somebody ends up shooting a post or something. But they essentially track the bullet as it travels through those 2 light planes, and it's going to spit out your bullet speed, your muzzle velocity. Those chronographs are relatively economical and they do work. They're a little finicky sometimes. However, the big downside to those chronographs is you have to go down range to set those things up. They're a little bit of a pain in the butt. And also, as we said, with different lighting conditions, they can be a little bit finicky. The next chronograph I want to take a second to talk about is going to be the Lab Radar. The Lab Radar is really unique because it's essentially a big iPad that you set up beside you. You shoot beside it and it gives you your muzzle velocity right there. So there's no reason to go down range or anything like that with a Lab Radar. However, the downside to a Lab Radar is that it is very finicky in terms of it has to be pointed specifically at your target. And even then, it does occasionally drop shots. Whenever you take it out to a firing line or a match situation where there's a bunch of shooters on a line shooting, in rapid succession close together, the Lab Radar also tends to have a little bit of a problem with picking up other people's shots. The next chronograph I want to take a second to talk about is the Magnetospeed. Specifically, the Magnetospeed V3 is a bayonet-mounted chronograph. You're going to strap it to the end of your barrel, or you can use a third-party mount. It's going to basically spit out your data on a little screen that wires to it. The Magnetospeed's good because it's known to be pretty reliable. It's known to be pretty repeatable. It's one of the better chronographs on the market. The downside to the Magnetospeed is you have to shim it to your rifle or use a third-party mount and mount it to your different rifles. So it doesn't really work good in terms of moving it from rifle to rifle really quickly. Also, the Magnetospeed is really kind of intended for a rifle. It doesn't really work good on handguns or archery or different stuff like that. So the Magnetospeed and the Lab Radar are kind of the 2 really popular chronographs these days. And if we could combine the pros of the Magnetospeed with the pros of the Lab Radar, we kind of have a perfect world. And that's what it appears we got with the Garmin Xero C1 Pro. It has all the good features of the Magnetospeed in terms of being a chronograph that's not going to pick up other people's shots, being a chronograph that's not going to drop shots or do different stuff like that. But it has the nice features of the Lab Radar in terms of being versatile with different weapon systems, whether it be a handgun or a rifle or archery or different stuff like that. Also, it's really easy to set up. You just plop it on the bench, or you could mount it to your rifle via something like the Area 419 mount, or I just saw saw that Gray Ops is coming out with a mount for this. There's tons of different options, and you could do some live shooting with it. You could do some positional drills. You could do some more dynamic shooting, and your chronograph's going to stay with you on your rifle pointed at your target, and you're going to be getting data as you practice with it. All right, guys, so I feel like we've talked a lot about the chronograph, and I feel like we should just go out to the range. We should shoot it. We should see how it works. We should try it on a couple different things. So to try it on a couple different things, I'm going to be utilizing the Area 419 mount in conjunction with, I'll be clipping it into a tripod periodically, and I'm also going to try using the tripod that's included with this thing. All right, so we got the Bren 2 SBR. This is an 11-inch 223. I'm going to be shooting some Norma Tac 223, and we're going to be testing out the new Garmin chronograph. So you guys situated here on the chronograph. Whenever you start it up, you're just going to press OK for new session, rifle, and then 1700 to 5000 feet a second. This is probably going to be somewhere around 24, give or take 100. Tells you where to set it up. I just have it in my Area 419 mount here, and I'm literally just sitting it on the bench next to the rifle. And we'll get it sit here, and we'll see how it picks them up. And there's all of them. So we go through, make our weapon safe. So you can see we got a standard deviation of 21.4, extreme spread of 59.8. Again, this is just some bulk 223 stuff. But if we actually press the OK button and then OK again, it'll give us the shot list, and we could go through and we could actually look at what they were doing. So pretty cool. Okay, so I got the Garmin Xero mounted on my Area 419 mount on my Really Red Stuff tripod here set to the side. And since I don't have an Arca rail here on this 22 long rifle, this is a CZ457 with a dead air mask can, I'm just going to set the tripod up here, and I'm going to do some work off of this barricade. We're going to take a couple shots out at 200 and get some practice in, and also get some chrono data. So, had no problem. Oh, we got one more. Let's go ahead and just fire that one. Let's take a shot at the little guy now. Got it. So, no problem. 5 for 5. Picked all of it up. All right, so taking a look at the string that we just shot, if we press the OK button and then OK again, we could go down here and we could take a look at all 5 of our shots. 973, 67, 87, 73, 83. And then if we go back and go back again, here on that main screen, it's giving us average, standard deviation, and extreme spread. These are 147 grain hand loads with tight groups, so pretty good. So you can see there, it picked up all 3 shots. I was able to get a little bit of barricade practice in and get a little bit of chronograph data. So, pretty good. All right, so as you guys saw, the chronograph seemed to work pretty good. We tried it on a bunch of different stuff, never ran into any sort of issues. It picked up every single shot that I fired and seemed to be working pretty good. As long as you set this thing up, Garmin recommends, and it'll tell you on the unit whenever you set it up and use it, you want to be 5 to 15 inches away from your muzzle in terms of left to right, and you want to be about 5 to 15 inches back or forth from your muzzle for most of your rifles and different stuff like that. Whenever you shoot with a pistol, you want to basically have this thing and shoot right over the top. Same thing with archery. So this thing seems to work pretty good. I tested it against my magnetospeed, and I'll throw up those results here on the screen, and it seemed to be tracking my ballistic. It seemed to be tracking my muzzle velocity pretty much spot on and working pretty good there. In terms of picking up shots, it worked pretty good. There wasn't anybody else at the range shooting whenever I was there. I didn't get to test how it's going to do in terms of picking up other people's shots, but the preliminary reports seem to be pretty good. And I'll definitely be doing some long-term testing with this thing. I'll be running it pretty much from now on in terms of my chronograph. Like, I'm still going to keep my magnetospeed in case I ever do need it, say this goes down or something. It's nice to have a little bit of a backup chronograph here, but I'm probably going to be taking this to every match that I shoot. So I think it's going to be really nice because over the course of a day, if I'm shooting a prone stage or something like that at a PRS match, I could put this in that area 419 mount, clamp it there, and I could get some data. I could see maybe my muzzle velocity is starting to trend up or down, or maybe it's trending exactly where I thought it was going to be trending. It's going to give me more confidence throughout the day. So there's a bunch of versatility that this thing's going to offer me. I'm going to be able to chronograph a bunch of different weapon systems very easily. If I'm out at the range and somebody's curious and they want to play with it, it's very easy to plop this thing up on the table and let them use it. It's small enough to where this thing's pretty much always going to be in my pack at all times whenever I'm going out to the shooting range or going out to a match or different stuff like that. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this thing, and it's checked all the boxes I was looking for it to check. There's really no complaints that I had to say about this thing, and I almost feel bad saying that because I try to bring you guys, constructive videos and stuff like that, but this chronograph really kind of checks all the boxes that I'm looking for. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions or want to share your thoughts or your experiences with the Garmin, I would love to hear it down in the comment section below. Guys, I make these videos for your entertainment and educational purposes. So if you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. If you would like to, throw me a like. All the support that you guys throw to the channel gives me encouragement to keep making more videos and keep producing content. So guys, as always, remember to train hard, shoot fast, and most importantly, be safe. God bless.